Yeah, well, the first thing I want to talk about is Georgia fans and just like, their frustrations with Mike Bobo and Carson Beck at the beginning of the season. A lot of fans were calling for Mike Bobo and saying he doesn't know how to run an offense and saying Carson Beck wasn't the guy. As far as Mike Bobo is concerned, he's been calling these plays, the same plays, since the first game of the season. The issue was Carson Beck was not connecting. Therefore, he's not going to continue to call plays that Carson Beck is not connecting on. In that Auburn game, Carson Beck was thrown into the fire, and Mike Bobo had no choice but to open up the playbook fully and, throw Carson Beck into the fire. Once Carson Beck answered in that Auburn game, Mike Bobo was like, okay, the playbook's open. Carson Beck can do it all. And that's what you saw in the Kentucky game. Carson Beck's playing with the confidence that he didn't have in week one with the same timing, decision making with the football, and accuracy that he's had since week one. It was never a problem with that for me. Watching him on film, his deep ball was a little inaccurate, but I mean, his timing and decision making looked excellent. It really surprised me from a first year starter. And, fast forward to this game against Kentucky, he played absolutely out of his mind. Now, with that being said, Brock Bowers is an absolute problem for a defense to game plan for.
Yeah.
Mike Bobo also does a great job with how he calls plays and personnels for this Georgia offense. He uses Brock Bowers as a tight end, a wide receiver, and a running back. So one play, and it's all Georgia's running all hurry up. So it's on the ball. They got that one tight end, number 4, and Brock Bowers both on the line. So what do you got to bring an extra linebacker in, but you can't because it's hurry up. They run it to that side, and then they're on the ball again, and now they got Brock Bowers split out at receiver, and he's running a seam. If you got a linebacker that you subbed in, he's not doing nothing with Brock Bowers. And then the very next play, he's at running back. So Mike Bobo is so dynamic with how he's giving Brock Bowers the football. It's causing so many issues for these defenses that the casual eye is not even paying attention to and just criticizing Mike Bobo because they see an incomplete pass and Georgia has to punt.
Yep.
Give Mike Bobo a couple weeks and look at what he's done, man. Brock Bowers, if the Heisman wasn't a quarterback award, Brock Bowers would just be in the conversation. I don't know if he'd be a top 3 guy, but he'd be in the conversation. A team has not been able to find a way to stop him yet. And going forward, if a team cannot, I don't see any team beating Georgia.
Yeah, and I want to give one thing too. I want to give Georgia's defense a lot of credit. This is a defense that I think has gotten a lot of questions heading throughout the season because of the expectations. There's a lot of returning guys from last year's team on this year's team. The step back that we've had with being able to stop the run and really stop a lot of inferior opponents has been really concerning for me. I think Georgia's defense played a pretty good game. I know there was one touchdown they gave up. That kind of really wasn't their fault. It was the Carson Beck interception, which Kentucky got in good territory. And Mark Stoops caught up a really good play. It was a screen to Ray Davis, which they took to the house. Outside of that, though, Ray Davis couldn't get anything going. A lot of people were really concerned about Georgia stopping Ray Davis. I think Georgia did a terrific job. 15 for 59, averaging 3.9 yards per carry. Didn't even get to 4 yards per carry. Georgia did a really good job stopping him. Devin Leary. You can say what you want about Devin Leary. I personally am not a big believer in him. I don't think he was that good. I think we held him to exactly how we should have. He did make a couple throws here and there, but Devin Leary missed a lot of open throws too, especially early in the game. That I really think, and I was talking to people around me when I was at this game, in the second half. Had Kentucky had hit on some of those big plays that they had in the first half and didn't kill themselves with penalties, I don't think the final score would have been 51-13. This game could have had the potential to be really close. So, looking at it from Kentucky's standpoint, as a Kentucky fan, you don't need to be throwing in the season after this game. There was potential for Kentucky to score some points, and I think there are going to be some games where they will hit on these plays, and I think Kentucky could still be a dangerous team heading forward. There's a lot of teams on their schedule, Alabama, Tennessee. You can't write those off as automatic losses for Kentucky.